I just needed to grab some water. Sorry about that. Anyways, this is first in a series of lives that I'm going to be doing on Fridays in this group. And I just wanted to provide a little bit more value to you guys that can help you keep your weeknight dinners exciting, keep you inspired to cook. So I wanted to do these lives because I think they're easier to digest for you than, say, some kind of handout or download or something like that. So I'm just going to go live in real time the next, not the next 4 Fridays. This Friday, next Friday, we'll skip. There's 5 Fridays in September. We'll skip that middle Friday and then I'll do 2. But if you keep tuned into this group, you will know all that. So specifically today, I'm going to be talking about spices that you already have in your cupboard and how you can use them to create simple and delicious every night dinners. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of spices, and I'm really a huge fan of spices in the way that they can easily switch up the flavors that we're using in the food that we're making. So in essence, keep our meals really easily exciting because we're always trying something new. And it doesn't have to be super complicated. I think people think about spices who aren't familiar with them, and the first thing they'll think is, well, I don't know how to use spices. It sounds really hard. I don't know why you're talking about easy. And if that is you, I'm glad you are here today because I am here to tell you that spices actually make things easier when you're looking for something new and exciting to cook. If you've ever had that thought like, ugh, I wish I had an exciting and easy new dinner idea, this is what I'm talking about. So first off, I wanted to say welcome to those of you that are new to the group. We've had quite a few incoming new members in the last couple weeks. I'm really happy that you're here, excited, and very thankful that you decided to join this group. I want this group to be a place where you guys come when, like I said, you need an easy and exciting new dinner idea. I want you to keep this in your mind. Instead of Googling easy, exciting new dinner idea, which you can absolutely do. My goal for this group is to be providing the resources for you that you can come here and just easily get something that you can make, get an idea, have a question about ingredient. Hey, I have chicken breast in this. What should I make? That type of thing. So I want this group to be where you come so that you don't feel so stressed out about that. You don't want to give up homemade food. I know that, but some nights you just feel like, why am I even doing this? This is so stressful for me. So if that resonates with you and you're watching this after the fact, watching the recording of this, let me know. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear that. Let's see. So yeah, I want weeknight meals to be exciting for you guys to continue to cook. So today specifically, I am talking about spices and 5 spices that you probably have in your cupboard. I'm going to want to know if you do or you don't. I picked some pretty common spices that you can just add to what I call everyday ingredients. And these are the ingredients that most people are familiar with that we tend to turn towards when we're thinking about cooking weeknight dinners. So like chicken, ground meat, ground beef, like tomato sauces, rice, veggies, fish, stuff like that. So things that you feel confident already in cooking, but you just want kind of a new way to switch it up, right? If you have downloaded my free spice guide, some of this information will sound familiar. If you haven't downloaded my free spice guide, go to freespiceguide.com and you will get a little bit more of an in-depth view of what I'm going to talk about today. And if you like things written down to refer to, that's another good place as well. So freespiceguide.com. So I'm just going to dive right into the spices. I opened my spice cupboard this morning, it's messy. I'm going to admit, you guys, my confession is that my spice cupboard is actually really messy. Because I'm always trying new things and putting things together, and I try to label blends that I make, but sometimes I forget and they're just in there. Believe me, I do not have a neat spice cupboard. But I do have an idea for how to use a lot of the stuff in there. So today, the spice that I'm going to start with is cinnamon. Okay, this is a spice that we pretty much, as Americans, we really only use in baking and for sweet stuff and for cookies and pumpkin pie spice and all this stuff. So it's just this thing that sits there on our shelf and waits for us to bake something, right? But what if you could use cinnamon to add some interest to some common ingredients like chicken or tomato sauce. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So in other cultures, talking specifically about Middle Eastern cultures, cinnamon is actually used quite often in savory dishes, and specifically with meat and with pilafs as well. So cinnamon is a really great one, and just singly cinnamon, you don't even have to add any other spices to it, that you can pull out of your cupboard and sprinkle into something. So specifically, the one I like to start with for people is a tomato-based sauce. So tomato and cinnamon are actually a really amazing pair for each other. They go really, really well together. So if you have a tomato sauce that you always make from scratch, I would suggest next time, instead of maybe putting the Italian oregano or basil in there, or thyme, or the Italian Mediterranean ingredients, the herbs, I would say switch those out. I would leave those out and just put a sprinkle of cinnamon in there. And if you're feeling even more adventurous, put a little sprinkle of allspice in there as well. Now, when we start adding spices to dishes when we're unfamiliar with them, I suggest starting with a quarter to a half a teaspoon. That way, if you really don't like it, the dish isn't ruined, and you can tell if you might like it. You're like, oh, that's interesting, let me add a little bit more. Generally, I tend to add a little bit more than the quarter to half a teaspoon, but that's where I end up starting in case you just don't like the taste at all. But I have a couple recipes, and if you want them, let me know down below, leave a comment. I have one for, it's a chicken that's simmered in a tomato sauce that has cinnamon in it. It's a Greek dish, and wow, it is so incredible. So if you want that recipe, let me know. I can leave a link for it. Also, a tomato sauce with pasta that uses ground meat, that uses cinnamon and allspice and actually paprika, which I'm going to go into in a minute. So those are some spices you can add. So say like pasta is something you always make, or something with a tomato sauce is something you always make. Try next time switching out, leaving behind the Italian or Mediterranean ingredients and adding in cinnamon and allspice, and see how that goes. And if you want a recipe, let me know. If you feel more comfortable with recipes, I have some for that as well. So that's cinnamon. Okay, try that. Let me know what you think. Number 2, paprika. Now, paprika is one of those things that hangs out in our cupboard, gets sprinkled on top of deviled eggs, maybe a potato salad, but we don't really ever think about it. And I think a large part of that is because the paprika that you buy in the grocery store tends to, be brown. Paprika should be red, people. The brown paprika that you buy in the grocery store is really old, and it's really not going to taste like much. And that's probably why you don't think about it much when you're sprinkling it on your food, because you can't really taste it. It's just a little bit of a nice color. But if you invest in a nice paprika, you seek out a nice paprika, and if you want to know some sources, I can let you know that too. I won't go into that right now. But seek out a good paprika, a Hungarian paprika. Hungarians are amazing at creating the peppers that make paprika, and they actually have tons of flavor. There's sweet, there's hot, there's smoked, and you can really experiment with any of these with what I'm going to say. So one of my favorite things to do with paprika is actually roasted veggies. Definitely with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and garlic. And especially smoked paprika in this application is really, really delicious. So try them the next time that you roast some veggies simply. If you're making your own burger mix, or if you're actually just have some already made burger patties that are frozen or something, next time you make them, try sprinkling a little bit of paprika on there. You should already be sprinkling a little bit of salt and even pepper if you want to kind of amp up that flavor of the burger. And try some paprika on there too. It's just going to add an extra flavor note, make it a little bit more exciting, a little bit different for you as well. And if you want to get super crazy, add some cinnamon and some paprika and make it a Greek burger. So say you can have any kind of meat for this. You can have a beef, a lamb, or a turkey burger, even a chicken burger. Sprinkle some cinnamon and paprika on there, and then go the Greek route. So you can do like a yogurt cucumber sauce to spread on the bun. Do some nice red onion in there, maybe some mint. You got yourself a Greek burger. It's burger night, but they're Greek burgers, because you put a couple spices in there and added some yogurt and cucumber, right? So, like I said, just really easy way to switch it up. And of course, the deviled eggs, the potato salad. Here's the thing about paprika. It's usually pretty mild, unless you're using a smoked or hot. And so it also goes really well on a mild flavored fish. It isn't going to overpower the fish. On an oilier fish, like a salmon or something, you might not really taste it so much. But on a lighter fish, a flakier fish, like a mahi mahi or something, that doesn't have a whole lot of oil content, you are going to actually, it will add something if you add it along with some salt and some oil, some paprika. It's going to add some nice color and also some nice flavor as well. So that's paprika, your roasted veggies, your burgers, of course your deviled eggs and potato salad, but seek out a high quality paprika so you can really taste what it tastes like, and then fish as well. And this includes smoked paprika, regular paprika, and hot paprikas too. Paprika tends to have a bit of a sweet taste to it, just a regular paprika. And if you're not getting that, you need a new paprika because you should be able to taste that sweetness. All right. Oh, I had these to pull out. This is how I keep my spices. I have paprika because I buy them in big bulk bags. And so I just keep them in whatever kind of jar I have. So this is my paprika jar. Here's my cinnamon. My family likes to sprinkle it, so we got a little sprinkle on the top. All right, so moving on. We have cinnamon and paprika. All right, turmeric next. I know in the last few years, turmeric gets so much hype, right? It's so good for us, but then we buy the turmeric. We even buy the really good turmeric, and then we're like, well, I really don't know what to do with this stuff, right? Turmeric tends to be more common in Middle Eastern and Indian cuisines. The further east you go, the more turmeric that you get, probably because it grows natively in those areas of the world that not an arid climate. It doesn't really grow very well in an arid climate. So turmeric, it has kind of a strong earthy taste. I'm not sure if you've noticed. And if you've ever ruined a dish with turmeric, it's probably because you added too much. It can get bitter if you are adding too much. It takes very, very little to add turmeric to a dish. You don't need a ton. And I know you might be familiar, like with Indian cuisine, in some lentils or different types of mung beans, different types of dals. It's a very common thing to be adding. But if you don't want to specifically make an Indian dish, maybe that feels it's too complicated, or you feel like you have to look up a recipe. One way that I really like to add turmeric, and this is something that people cook all the time, and that's with chicken. Turmeric and chicken go really, really well together. And especially if you add some garlic and black pepper. Black pepper and turmeric work synergistically together. So apparently they activate, I can't remember what it is. You can look that up. But black pepper and turmeric go well together for health reasons. And from what I understand, you also need a fat in there as well. So in order to get the health benefits of turmeric, you need it to be carried by a fat. So if you're just putting turmeric in water and drinking up, you're probably not getting all the health benefits. But if you're drinking golden milk or something that has some fat in it, that's something that's going to be better for you health-wise, but you can look all that up on your own. I'm here to talk about flavors, turmeric, black pepper, garlic, and then I always pair it with some kind of lime or lemon zest or juice too. That is just a really amazing combination. Even if you only have turmeric and black pepper, just do that too. Or turmeric and garlic is all you have, or even turmeric and lime or lemon is all you have, do that. And some of you may have made my tangy turmeric lime chicken. I actually just did that for a demo at the OC Fair, and it was so popular, and it is so absolutely simple. I do have a recipe for it. I do have a video on my YouTube channel as well. So if you don't know where that is and want me to point that out to you, I can do that if you want to see it being made. But it's basically just, let me see if I can remember. It's like a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 or 2 garlic cloves, some zest of 1 or 2 limes, and then you marinate the chicken with that stuff and some olive oil, and then you grill it, you bake it, you sear it. It is so delicious. And then that chicken, what's so great about it is if you make a big batch of it, then you have that chicken that you can then use for wraps for the week, or you can shred it and make sandwiches. So there's so many possibilities with that, right? So that's turmeric. If you want other ideas for turmeric, if you're like, I got that chicken turmeric thing down, let me know down below. Leave a comment, say, I want more turmeric ideas. I'm starting with the basics here, but if you're watching this and you want more, let me know down below, okay? So that's where are we? Number 3. I have my turmeric here. It's pretty empty, but I have my bulk bag over here that I'll refill it soon. Okay, so bay leaves. I know we all have bay leaves in our cupboard. and it's something that we like throw in soup when the recipe calls for it, and we think, does this even add anything at all? Again, spices and herbs are going to add something if they're not old, right? So if you're using bay leaves that you bought at the grocery store, chances are they're not going to have much flavor in them at all. If you're seeking out more high quality one, and basically how high quality just means fresher. Means fresher, the bay leaf is actually going to have some color still to it and will have flavor as well, right? So one of my favorite things to do with a bay leaf, a nice freshly dried bay leaf, besides putting it in a soup, I do think it adds flavor if you do have a fresher one. It has a kind of a rosemary-ish thyme kind of flavor to it, so it adds that. But one of my favorite things to do with it is grind it up. Like if you have a spice grinder, mine's hidden back there, but I just have a coffee grinder that I use only for spices, like a Krups or a Braun or something like that. They're like $30. You can grind up the bay leaves in there and then add it to your burger mixture, or even just on the top. Or you can put it also in your soup. If you're grinding it up, it's going to release those oils and it's going to release more into your soup. So I know I went back to burgers again, but really burgers can be made with so many different types of meat. Even if you're making some kind of vegetable patty, grind up your bay leaf and put it together in there with maybe some paprika. Smoked paprika would even be delicious, and it's just going to add that extra little bit of something. So those bay leaves don't have to sit in your cupboard rotting forever, right? And when you are using freshly dried or dried herbs, this is an important point. In order to release the oils in them to kind of get their flavors going so you can taste them, you do want to crush them. And that's what grinding the bay leaf will do. Will crush it up and it will release those essential oils. So if you just stick in a soup, that's great too, but maybe you break it in two or something to kind of get those oils going, right? So that's bay leaves. I love doing that with bay leaves. It just adds a little bit of extra interest to whatever you're making. It can be a little bit strong, but it's absolutely delicious. You can actually buy them now. I've seen them in the grocery store, like in the herbs and the produce section in those little plastic boxes. You can buy fresh bay leaves, and then you can just dry them yourself. And the way to do that is to just it's usually like a little stem with a few bay leaves on it. Just take that, put it on a plate in your kitchen on the counter and just let it dry. Or if you have somewhere to kind of hang it up, you can hang it in your kitchen and then you'll have freshly dried bay leaves. It's super simple to do. I have a plant growing in my yard, so I have an eternal source of bay leaves. And if you're into gardening, bay leaves are not hard to grow. They're huge trees, but I keep mine in a pot, so it keeps it nice and small, and I always have bay leaves. So those are some ways to get some freshly dried bay leaves from me, if you're local here in Long Beach, or at the grocery store you can find the fresh ones and then dry them on your own. So, but try crushing them up. All right, so that's number 4. We've done cinnamon, paprika, turmeric, and bay leaves. And I decided just to do 5 today because I could go on forever, and I wanted to keep this nice and simple for you guys. I'm going to go with thyme. Thyme is one that we all tend to have sitting in our cupboard. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't talk a lot about herbs, so thyme is an herb because it's the leafy part of the plant. A spice is generally more a bark or a root that's ground up, and so it's a powder, right? So herbs, I tend to keep on hand less or tend to use less because they get older faster. So I would prefer to use fresh thyme as opposed to dried thyme. I don't even really keep dried thyme in my cupboard because it just goes flavorless so fast. I don't keep big, large amounts of it. If you buy thyme at the supermarket to use for a recipe, again, if you don't use it all, hang a little bit in your kitchen, like from your fruit basket or something, or just put it on a plate in your kitchen too. Just kind of spread it out on there and leave it out there for a few days. And you can dry it out that way, and then you can have dried thyme as well. And that thyme that you dry freshly is going to have so much more flavor than anything you're going to get in the grocery store. So if you have time, that's my little side note for how to get some terrific tasting dried thyme. I really like thyme on fish. It's really delicious on fish. As well as, this is one, I don't know if you guys saw my side dish a few weeks ago I made on my YouTube channel. It was sauteed cabbage with cumin seed and turmeric, I think. You'll see it, somebody messaged or wrote a comment on that video and said, what are other spices I could use? And I thought, what are other spices she could use? And to go a completely different realm of flavor. So cumin and turmeric were kind of an Indian style cabbage, right? And I said, hey, let's go completely different, kind of French or Mediterranean. I said chives, parsley, and thyme. And thyme also goes really, really well with mustard. And actually, I was going to show you. This is in the free spice guide, guys. So if you don't have that yet, be sure you look up that free spice guide. And there's a little recipe in there for a rub. I'm trying to pull it up here. There's a recipe in there for a rub for salmon. And that takes dried thyme, garlic, lemon, Dijon mustard, and maple syrup. And you kind of make that a rub and you put it over your salmon and you bake it off in the oven however long you like to bake salmon, 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how done you like it. And that's a really great way to use thyme and to balance it with other flavors. So thyme can kind of have that piney taste that rosemary has. So you don't want too much of it, but just a little bit of it is a really nice balance to that Dijon and garlic and maple syrup. And and a little bit of lemon too. So if you haven't downloaded that free spice guide, go ahead and go to freespiceguide.com and do that too. That will put you on my email newsletter list, and you will be getting weekly emails from me that are letting you know about my newest recipe videos, that are telling you about upcoming events. I have a masterclass coming up in October, which I'll be talking about soon. But leave a comment down below, guys. Let me know if you watched the video. Let me know what kind of questions that you have. And let me know always what you're making for dinner this week. I always want to know. And go download that free spice guide, freespiceguide.com. And I will see you guys next Friday. And on the 9th, I'm going to be talking about how to adapt recipes like a pro. And this is one of my absolute favorite things to talk about, because it's basically like you find a recipe, but you don't you don't have an ingredient on hand, or you don't eat something that's in it. Say it's for something that requires red meat. And you're like, well, I don't really eat red meat. How can I make this anyways? It sounds really yummy. How can I adjust this recipe so I can still get the flavors from it and not ruin the recipe? So I'm going to be talking about easy substitutions, what you should be considering, and how to adapt recipes like a pro. Basically, how chefs think when they're swapping in flavors and textures and ingredients. So that's next Friday the 9th. Don't miss out on that one. And I will see you guys next time. Remember, come here. I want you to come here when you don't know what to make for dinner and get some ideas. And I will see you next time. All right. Bye.